Welcome back to another Langmuir Systems CrossFire assembly video. In the last video, we assembled the frame of the machine, and in this video, we'll be installing the upper rail and gantry assembly. First, let's go over the parts and the tools that you'll need. You'll need the gantry assembly, the upper rail, the 4 black powder-coated stanchion plates, bag number 2, frame bolts medium, and the remaining washers and nuts and bag number 4. For tools, you'll need the 2 9/16 wrenches that were used in the frame build. The first step is to install the stanchion plates on each end of the lower rail tube using the mounting holes here and here. Make sure that the small holes on the stanchion plates are facing up. Use the bolts and the washers and nuts from bag number 2 and bag number 4. Hand tighten them at this time only. Also make sure that the bolts get installed from the back of the machine through the stanchion plates and tube to the front. Now it's time to install the upper rail tube. It's important to get the upper rail tube oriented correctly. The large hole that the cable support tube passes through must be mounted on this end, and the 2 smaller holes have to be biased downward so that they line up to the holes in the stanchion plates. So I'll do that now. Also, be sure that the bolts, washers, and nuts are installed in the same orientation that they were installed on the bottom, and I'll be hand tightening these just for now. Now I'm going to tighten the bolts on this end only. We're going to leave this end only finger tight. Now when you tighten these bolts, make sure you don't crank on them too hard because there's no spacers in these tubes to prevent them from crushing. So just put about 10 to 15 foot-pounds of torque on each bolt. Now I'm going to remove the nuts and bolts and stanchion plates from this end, which will allow us to pass the gantry assembly onto the upper rail. Now it's time to install the gantry. The gantry is assembled in our factory and it's matched to the upper rail that it's shipped with. In the factory, we preloaded these bearing blocks against the rail to ensure that there would be no lash present. This makes it a little challenging to get it to slide on the upper rail, but with some force it should go on. Slide the gantry all the way along the rail until it butts up against the far side stanchion plates. Next, reinstall the stanchion plates using the same fasteners used previously. Also tighten the bolts to 10 to 15 foot-pounds. That wraps up installation of the gantry. In the next video, we'll be installing the slat bed. Thanks for watching.